And I think grannies should, all of them, fly around London. It would be heaven. It'd be such fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be wonderful. The Flying Granny. Granny Buzz walked to the end of her garden where her beehives were humming with busy honey bees. "Oh, I wish I could fly like you. It must be such a lovely feeling," she said, and gave them a bowl of sugar syrup. What inspired me was going over the Hammersmith flyover, and I used to say to my young children, if only I could fly, it would be so wonderful. And this one day I was lying in bed thinking of the traffic jams, and I thought, oh, I could just go up and fly in front of all the cars and get to everywhere. My husband would be so happy. I still love to fly. The granny is absolutely wonderful, especially in the beginning, where she's standing there with her sort of superior look and she's thinking up her adventures, and that's the exciting bit. Nobody knows what's going to happen to her, and suddenly she takes off. She has great feeling of energy, even though she's very old, and she inspires the others because there she is flying and they all love her and they all think, oh, I wish I could be like Granny. And she just goes off wherever she likes. She's very eccentric. And they're very eccentric bees because they normally don't like old ladies. They like to sting them rather than be friends. But she's treated them so beautifully that she just stays with them. And the end of the story is just her with the bees around, all talking to her. And she loves that. They're her friends. Granny was the closest person in my whole life, more than mother or anybody. She was very special. That's not why I've written about grannies, because I'm a granny in a different way, but she was everything to me. A childhood wish. I had this feeling of longing to fly, so I leapt off the chair and gave it a try. Arms outstretched, I flew round the room, head held high. I'll be taking off soon. Mum playing the piano, I stood high in the chair. I flew and I fell with a sickening tear. Oh, that was so wonderful. The ballet career was, if I go to heaven, I'd like to be a ballet dancer again at the Royal Opera House, because it was so fulfilling. And I had a scene with Joan Sutherland where I had to stand by a chair and she was singing this woo, wonderful opera, and the chair suddenly went clonk on the floor, and she turned around and she said to me, "You bitch." And I went on, whoa, singing. And it was the most terrifying moment, because I had to pick the chair up and pretend I was a nun just praying like this. It was very difficult. Having worked very hard from the age of 13, I only started training at 13, and this sheer energy and discipline of training suddenly came into fruition. It was extraordinary, and I just felt just not satisfied but fulfilled, really, doing whatever. But I wasn't in the quarter ballet or in a ballet performance, which would have been wonderful, but I was too tall. And you train so hard to be able to do whatever, whereas flying is absolutely free. I don't think it is linked, actually. No, flying is in my imagination, and in my dreams is to fly. And when I go in a plane going abroad to somewhere, I look at the clouds and I think, oh, I'd love to be on those clouds. I'd love to just be plopping around on the clouds. I'd really love to be. Later on, it became rather windy, and as Granny flew above the treetops, skimming their leaves, she bumped into a blue kite. A little girl was pulling its string, crying out, "My kite is stuck! My kite is stuck!" Granny untangled the kite and dropped it down towards the girl, and then she got stuck in the tree's branches. Poor Granny slipped and hung upside down, her petticoats all over her face and her silky knickers shining in the sun. Another big gust flew her free and she fell into a bush. And then later I wrote a lot of poetry, and I used to go down to the sea at Brighton and sit on the end of the pier and write poetry. So there was a lot of kind of beginnings of writing. And then I got married, and there was no time to write, except my 3-year-old used to come in at 4 in the morning saying, "Story time, Mummy!" And she'd bounce into bed expecting a story. And every single day of my married life, I made up a story. And so that's how I really started writing children's books. But she was very demanding. So writing was sort of there, but it was only in my rather lonely latter days that I suddenly started writing, because children are meant to be reading at the moment. There's such a thing about literacy. You'd think that they'd let an old lady come along and read for half an hour a children's book, but so many of them are too busy. Well, I teach children here, and hence we're doing this amazing nativity play, which we're doing a bee song and a toy maker's song, and then we do all the carols with a live baby Jesus. So I got 3 little girls last year, and they were all completely bald. And it was so sweet. And the old lady said, "Oh, aren't the boys lovely?" Wonderful to see the 2 generations. It's much better than, I tell you, than having any family Christmas, because it's a unified feeling of everybody together, the innocent and the very old, who are becoming innocent again in a strange way. They're almost childlike. We do a great entertainment, which is very, very rewarding. When it's over, I'm a bit sad, actually. Now I'm 70. Do not mock when I forget, nor can grasp the internet. Give me more fun, enjoy me more. I'm not potty yet, but what's in store?